Hi friends, welcome back to my haunted life. It's been a little bit. I keep going back and forth trying to figure out what I want to do with this channel. And a couple updates for you first. I have been trying to find people to share their paranormal stories and do interviews. Not going so well. A lot of people don't want to share. Weird. I know. But this new segment, I am going to make dinner as we discuss the paranormal. You've heard of makeup, murder, and mystery. I'm trying to figure out a catchy phrase for dinner or cooking and the paranormal. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to put a pound of bacon in the oven. We're going easy tonight. Easy dinner. So this channel will not be sharing all these specific recipes, but most of the time you'll be able to find my recipes that I'm making over at JeniGough.com, as my main channel is Jeni's Scratch Made Kitchen. Tonight on the menu, homemade mushroom soup and BLTs. So I'm going to start getting cracking on the mushroom soup. As you can probably see behind me, I have a mountain of mushrooms, and they're all creminis. I got a good deal on a huge pack of cremini mushrooms. They were $5. So we love mushrooms. I brought them home, and then my husband first thing says, "Are you going to make mushroom soup?" I said, "Sure, I can do that." So what I want to do first is get my onion chopped. Fall will be here before we know it. It is summer and it's hot. I still eat soup in the summer, so does my husband. In fact, I ate cabbage soup all last week. You can save your onion skins, put them in the freezer. I do. I usually wash those, get rid of all the really papery skins. If you like mushroom soup, have you made it homemade? Do you have a good recipe? I love it. So does my husband. And my recipe for this is available over at JeniGough.com. I also have a video on that channel making my mushroom soup, and it happens to be at the start of Halloween season a few years back. I will link it in this description box for you. It doesn't take very long. It's easy. It's quick. But mine starts out always with onion. And in this one I'm putting celery. I don't think that I've put celery in it prior, but I have celery today, so it's going in, along with a tablespoon of butter. My pot's over here. I don't know if you can see that. I'm using a yellow onion today because that's what I have. I really prefer white onions to yellow onions, but what else? Okay, so the paranormal talk. Let me just wash a couple of these celery real quick. And right now you guys are getting a little bit more view of how I work in my kitchen than I even show on my main channel. Okay, so paranormal updates for my house. It's been getting very active again lately. If you hear or see anything around me, please let me know. I don't always catch it because I'm so used to it. So I gotta tell you the scariest thing. I had my daughter-in-law had to have an emergency surgery, and I had my grandkids. So I had all four of my grandkids, and the baby is 1. I had her in her playpen in the living room, which is right there. I think if you've seen my house set up before. If not, let me finish chopping this and I'll show you. But she was in her playpen in the living room, and she kept looking around into the hallway and going, and I thought, what is she seeing? And I got up and looked. Nobody's in the hallway. No pets are in the hallway because we do have 2 dogs left. The other ones have passed on. But we do have 2 left, and not that the pit bull ever leaves the side of the children. He never does. So she wasn't waving at any animals. She was looking up, kind of like over and up, like she was looking at somebody tall. was weird. I actually got a little creeped out by that because my older granddaughter Rory, when she was about 2, kept complaining that there was a man in the hallway. My son has also complained about that, their father. So anyway, so that happened, and then the next day I was in the bedroom folding laundry, and I heard her in her playpen going, Emma, Emma, growling her name. Her name is Emma. I was like, what the heck is going on? So I come out here and look, she's happy and smiling, but she's growling her name, Emma. And I thought, oh my gosh, where in the world did she hear that? So what do you think? Where do you think she heard her name growled like that? I can't figure it out. Neither can her mother. But she's been growling her name. Anyway, I think that's super creepy. I am going to go ahead and put garlic in here. Well, I'm going to wait till it cooks a little bit more. So, to add celery or not to add celery, up to you. Again, I'm putting it in because I like it and I had celery today. I've been on a big celery kick this summer. I have eaten bags and bags and bags of celery. I just keep buying them like this. I don't know why. I did low carb all summer and that is crunchy, and I would use that for dips or spreads, and it's been good. So now I'm on this big celery kick and I want it all the time. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and salt and pepper my onions and celery. And I think when I thicken my mushroom soup this time, I'm just going to thicken it with some cornstarch. Yes, still has carbs, but it's really not going to be that many carbs and not that big of an impact. We are having BLTs, and I am using keto bread for that. Oh, Robert's home. Okay, try and think of what other. Sorry. Oh, in the hallway, as you remember, the hallway is kind of weird. Hang on. Okay, so the hallway is always creepy. There have been a lot of different things that have gone on in the hallway, including the story I told you about that when Robert came home from work and the, what do you call it, the door to the crawl space was open. It was wide open. That is at the end of that hallway, but there's also in the middle of that hallway, kind of in front of the pantry area, there's a weird energy spot. When you walk through it, you feel it. Everybody does. And that's the same spot that, for some odd reason, all my grandkids have been pushed down in front of the pantry right there. When they're, when they're young. Everett was pushed down. I think he was 3, so he was already walking for a couple years. Wasn't like he didn't trip over anything, but we watched him get pushed down hard. Normally, it's not a scary place. We're used to it, but the kids have been pushed down in the hallway. Again, and when Rory was 2, I was getting pajamas on her in my bedroom, which is at the end of that hallway, right across from that open crawl space. She was 2 at that point, so it's been a few years. She's 10 now, but she was jumping on my bed and I was putting her pajamas on her, and all of a sudden I saw her face just drop and she went down on her butt and she didn't jump back up again, and as she's going down she said, "Gigi, who's that man?" pointing in the hallway. So there is a known something in that hallway. I'm going to start cutting these mushrooms up. Yes, I wash my mushrooms. People always say, "Oh, don't do that. It absorbs water." I think that's a bunch of BS. I have weighed these, washed them, weighed them again, no weight gain. So yes, they're spongy and they will absorb flavors, but I do not think they're absorbing the water I'm quickly rinsing them off in. I don't know how I want these. Do I want them just sliced for mushroom soup, or do I want them diced? I think I'm just going to slice them. Leave them a little bigger. Okay, what else has happened? Oh, so if you are interested in being my guest and telling us about your paranormal stories, telling us your paranormal stories or your paranormal events, please let me know. I would love to have you as a guest. I'm searching for content, but I don't want to do the usual and scour the internet and tell the same stories everybody else is telling. I'm funny like that. Clearly I got a lot of my own. I have always had a lot of paranormal activity, no matter where I've been my entire life. I will say, and I don't ever admit this publicly because it's personal, but I have very strong clairvoyance. I'll leave it at clairvoyance. So no matter where I go, who I'm with, it just brings it out, man. Even when we went to, I don't even know if I ever told you this, when we went to Great Wolf Lodge for Rory's birthday, I'll tell you what, in the middle of the night, I heard some stuff. And I woke up, sat up, looked around, didn't see anything, but I could hear it. It sounded like somebody was going through the water, like trying to pull water out of the package. And of course, we were all sleeping in the same room. My grandkids were in the little bunk area. Uh-oh. And I heard rustlings around in the room, and it sounded like somebody trying to pull water out. But I looked up, I literally sat up and looked, saw nothing, and I was like, clearly it's spiritual or paranormal, and I just went right back to sleep. In the morning, my mom, I slept in the same bed with my mom, but in the morning, when we woke up, I told my mom, I heard somebody trying to get water last night, but nobody was there. And my mom said, me too. She heard it too. And I believe she sat up and looked as well. Because the first thing we think, of course, is that the littles are needing something. So, public places, doesn't matter. Wherever I'm at, I notice things. And also wherever I live. Clearly, the last place I lived was the worst. Whatever was there, I never want to come across something like that again. It was awful. I'm going to start filling pitchers of water. Do I want water, or do I just want to put milk in? I'm going to do water. I'm going to do half water because I want to put chicken bouillon in. I wish I had some fresh thyme. If I had fresh thyme, that would be going in this as well, but I don't. So I'm going to use powdered thyme today. Anyway, so there's that story. It seemed like I remembered the other day a story from my childhood that I wanted to tell you, and I'll be darned if I forgot what story that was. I also did a whole paranormal interview with my sister for you, and I did it on StreamYard. Was unable to download it onto my channel, so I was so irritated that I couldn't download it that I canceled StreamYard, because it's $89 a month. It's ridiculous. And so StreamYard deleted my entire interview. So my sister and I are going to redo it. I'm going to find a way to put it up for you. And she brings up a lot of interesting things that I have forgotten. We grew up together, obviously. Same house. We had the same experiences, but she's got kind of the flip side. Things I hadn't thought of or really noticed, but she did. And then things I thought of and noticed, she didn't. So we discussed that. It was actually a really cool interview, so I can't wait to redo that for you guys. See, I know I told you about the Deep Lake thing. What was it? I think it was a house. Something about one of the houses we lived in that I wanted to tell you. And I don't know why, I can't remember. I'm going to shove in here about, I don't know, 4 cloves-ish? Maybe 5, I don't know. I love garlic. Okay, what else did I want to tell you? The other day I was in my office and I was sewing. I was making a sewing tutorial, another sewing tutorial for my sewing channel, So Practical. And I was just quietly sewing because I knew that I was going to speed the clip up because it was just quilting on a stocking. So I knew I was going to speed that up. New fire alarm, smoke alarm. Anyway, and I could hear whispering in the corner of my sewing room, and it sounded like little kids. And I stopped everything I was doing and I thought, is my phone on? Checked the phone, no it wasn't on. Checked my computer, wasn't on. I wanted to make sure before I made any assumptions. And the chattering just went on and on and on. Couldn't figure out anything they were saying, but just little low voices, whisperings. Sorry, I'm terrible. I wander around this kitchen cooking. I never get everything in one spot first. So anyway, I just wanted you to know that I was still thinking about this channel. I'm still planning on moving forward with it. I just lost that paranormal interview, and I've been trying like crazy to get other people to come on, but I know a lot of shy people with their paranormal experiences. My house is all of a sudden, I said, very active again. It constantly, when I'm out here filming during the day and I'm alone, I'll hear knocking in the walls from back there, like behind this oven. That is Robert's bathroom, which is the furthest room away from where I'm sitting. Because you kind of have to go down the hall, around the bedroom, and into the bathroom, in our master bedroom. So a lot of knockings going on in there. There's never anybody in there. I'm home alone. Dogs are in here. They don't go in that bathroom anyway. I keep that door shut because I don't want them to go in there. Because somebody likes to get in the trash. I won't mention any names because they might be standing here by my feet. Anyway, so the knockings are going on again. That's fun. I did film knocking in my bedroom for you on my cell phone. I tried to anyway. When I rewatch the video on my cell phone, all I can see is my messy bedroom and I don't really hear the knocking. I will try to upload the footage here and we'll see. Okay, so you can hear the knocking a little bit, and my bedroom is a mess. I hadn't made my bed yet, and the dog took a bite out of my wedge. No one's in here. Sorry, I didn't make my bed yet. So what's the tapping? And what we can hear or see. But you'll have to excuse the mess. I hadn't made my bed yet, and it was messy in there. But I wanted to catch the knocking. A lot of knocking that day. A lot of times when I'm in my sewing room, I hear knocking from the spare bedroom, and that door stays shut because I don't want the dogs in there. I have storage in there, and I have a spare bed in there for when the grandkids come. That's it. There's nobody that stays in there. Robert and I live alone. We're empty nesters. So a lot of knocking is going on again. What are you guys having for dinner tonight? What are you making? Let me know if you like the idea of cooking in paranormal stories. And I will try to come up with, it's hard to keep this channel going on just my stories. Yes, things happen weekly, not always daily, and it's not as active as the other house was. So, well, thank goodness for that, but anyway, I really want to figure out a way to get more stories for you that are people's first-hand accounts and not just pulled from the net. I don't know. So we'll try that. I wish I could do lives on here. I don't have enough subscribers for lives, but I think a live paranormal talk would be super fun. If you're interested in doing something like that, we can always do a Zoom meeting for live paranormal talk. Let me know if you're interested in that. I definitely would do that. Something sparked the memory and I don't remember what it was. And I had the memory and I thought, ooh, I can tell you guys about that, and then I completely forgot. Did I ever tell you about my friend? She's passed on now, but did I ever tell you the story about her summer camp experience? We'll call her Bonnie. I'm not going to say her real name, even though she's passed on now. We'll call her Bonnie because people know me, and I don't want them to know that that was her story without, she never said, hey, you can tell people. I didn't have YouTube back then, though. She passed before YouTube was even created. So anyway, she decided for the summer that she was going to be a camp nurse at a summer camp. Super fun, right? This is in Michigan. And it was way out in some very small town, out in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of middle of nowhere stories about Michigan. She called me scared to death one night and said, can you please come up here? And I said, well, I'm not driving up there tonight, but I'll come up tomorrow. And it was nice because she called me on Friday night, terrified. But the next day was a Saturday, so I knew I could come up. So I said, I'll be up there tomorrow. And she said, okay. And when I got there, the story she told me blew my mind. I'll tell you what, it was scary. So she said, oh my gosh, there was a Native American camp across the lake from their camp, and she said they were terrified and they came over asking for help. They had a little boy, and they said he's possessed. And of course, the camp counselors and the camp nurse over in this camp thought, oh yeah, okay, he's possessed. And she said the little boy was sitting on the floor up against the wall, and she said he was doing this weird thing with his toe. He would point his toe at a ball in the vicinity, and he points his toe at the ball and he bends his knee up, and the ball came right over to him. And she said he kept doing that. And then when he'd kick his foot out, the ball would go out, and then when he'd bring his leg back in, and he'd always point his toe at the ball and do a circle, and then bend his knee, and the ball would come back to him. And he kept saying a bunch of weird things to them. I can't remember what he was saying now. It's obviously been many, many years. So we're talking 25, 30 years ago now. I can't remember the things he was saying. Really weird things, though. Something a child would never say. And it was a creepy, creepy story. Finally, they ended up calling an ambulance to come pick him up, and the next day, everybody left the camp, or that night, I don't know. When I got there on Saturday morning, the camp was empty, all but Bonnie and her son was there. Because she was able to take him with her to that summer camp job. Anyway, so she says, you know what, let's go swimming. And stupid me, yeah, okay, let's go swimming. Why would I want to go swimming in a lake that was just the area of a possession? You know what I'm saying? But I didn't think about it, and I said sure. And nothing happened in the lake. It was fine. But we get to the lake. My youngest son, Chase, didn't hear the whole story that she was talking about off playing, so he didn't hear the whole story. I guess I shouldn't. But him and Bonnie's son were off playing. They weren't listening to the story, or that Bonnie was telling me. So we get to the lake, and there's like this big raft in the middle of the lake, and it's, you know, like got a trampoline in the middle of it, and you can jump on it and jump into the lake. Whatever. It's just a big fun thing for the kids, right? She says, let's swim out there. It's a pretty far swim, and my youngest son, Chase, was maybe 7 at the time, and he took one look at the lake, and he said, oh no, Mama, I'm scared. And I said, okay, jump on my back and I'll swim you out there. He did, and he was fine. He just held on to my back, and I swam out there with him, and then I got to the raft, and he swung around, and I had him go up in front of me. But he just didn't hear the story, but just took one look at that lake, and he was like, oh no, Mama, no, it's scary. I'm scared. And I thought, well, that's weird. And we did climb up there. We didn't spend much time out there. I want to say it looked like a storm was going to roll in. So we were up there for a little while, and then I was like, oh gosh, we got to swim back. No, we got to get out of here. It was creepy. I felt creeped out by the whole thing. And it was even more creepy for the camp to be completely silent with nobody there. such a weird event. Anyway, nothing happened when I was there, but the whole story was creepy. I wish I could remember the things that he was saying to the camp counselors and the camp nurse, but I can't. But what I do remember is the ball thing with his foot. And that is really what creeped my friend out. I don't even think that was the story that I wanted to tell you. It was actually one of mine from childhood. I don't remember what it was. And I couldn't wait to get on here and talk to you, to tell you about that story that I remembered. The old memory isn't what it used to be. Again, if you are interested in sharing your stories with me, please email me and we can set up a Zoom, or we could still do, what is it called? StreamYard. I figure if I do a StreamYard, I'll have to put my camera up and just record the thing with my camera. So that's how I'm going to do that from now on. My daughter has a friend who I feel like he's got some stories. He just doesn't want to be public about it. So I'm trying, and I'm really curious about his stories. So we shall see, but I still want to keep that up. I'm going to think about what it was that I wanted to tell you, and when I remember, I will record, or I'll write a note. And I don't know that I'm going to put these up weekly because A, I've got 2 other channels, B, I need access to more content to share with you, more stories to share with you. I do have a Reddit account, and I have it up for people to share their stories with me. So far, nobody on Reddit is sharing with me. I'm, of course, not a large creator on that platform, so I barely have a presence there. Alright, so mushroom soup. I put in 1 cube. I'm going to go grab more. You know what else I normally put in here? Seasoning that has the herbs de Provence. I usually put herbs de Provence in here. I'm going to skip that today. I'm just not in the mood for the lavender. These came in a case. None of them were taped, except of course this one, because I'm on camera. That's the only reason. I am going to add some black pepper to this. I'm also going to add some ground thyme, but not a lot. Maybe a half a teaspoon, if that. What the heck? I'm going to add some ground oregano as well. Maybe a half a teaspoon. A teaspoon of onion powder. I'm going to add a half teaspoon of garlic powder. Season it any old way you like. I need to get my tomato slice. And then I have my keto bread. This one is the Nature's Own. It's actually pretty good. It's not bad. But in general, I'm not somebody who eats a ton of bread all the time, so I just keep it in the freezer. I think I'm going to do BLTAs and add some avocado. Gosh, I'm trying to think of anything else update-wise. But while you're here, we'll take a look at how my house is set up. Okay, this is the living room. That's the creepy hallway. Pantry is there. Spare bedroom is here. Sewing room is there, and my bedroom is there, and then that's a linen closet. It's a small house. And my kitchen. Don't judge me, I know it's a mess. For right now, I just have 2 pans there, though. I swear the rest of the dishes are clean over there. The crib was right here. In this spot right here. So she could peek around this wall and see down that hallway. The light wasn't on, the light was off as she's waving to somebody. But also, all the grandkids have fallen right here being pushed. You can see them literally be pushed by nothing. That spare room right there, when my Chihuahua mini pin was alive, she would sit by that door when it was open and she would get in position to be picked up. Somebody would be standing at that door and she wanted them to pick her up. Creepy, huh? Toaster popped up. I'm going to pull that out for the BLTs. So now you're behind me. And you're looking at the view I look at while I am cooking every day. That is my dining room. It is a mess. I am quilting, or making that quilt right there. I just got to finish the edges and I'm done with it. I have a sauna sitting there. The dog crate is the catch-all, so my purse is there. Boxes that need to go out are sitting there. Whew, it's a mess in there. But it always is. It's like that stuff you just kind of live with, right? Okay, so we got a little Duke's mayonnaise first. I need the avocado. Can you even see what I'm doing? I don't know. Okay, can you see the counter now? Hopefully you can. Avocado. You guys put avocado on your BLTs. Okay, so you've seen the house set up. Just bacon, pepper. Okay, so there is his BLT. I now have to thicken the soup. Other pantry over here. Alright friends, well I guess I'll end it here since I can't remember the childhood story I wanted to tell you. I'm going to think about it and try to remember so that I can tell you the next time. Sorry this first episode was a little bit disorganized. I will be better next time, I promise. I just wanted to give you those few updates and let you know the current goings on, but I really wanted to tell you about my granddaughter growling her name out here because I think it was the creepiest thing that's happened to me in a really long time. Alright friends, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like videos like this, please consider subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. I sure do appreciate your support. I would definitely like to grow this channel. If you have any stories you'd like to share, please let me know. If you'd like to share your story but rather remain anonymous, we can do that as well. I'll see you in the next video. Okay, super rude of me to end the video before I showed you the soup. It is done. I thickened it a little bit and put heavy cream in. So yummy. Robert's going to be super, super happy. It's his favorite. You can add a little Worcestershire to this.